North Korea has said it'll resume military action in response to South Korea having suspended part of the 2018 Inter-Korean Military Pact in the wake of Pyongyang's military spy satellite launch. South Korea's intel agency sees the launch as being successful this time with help from Russia. In London, President Yoon Suk-yeol and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak declared the Downing Street Accord, having elevated the two nations' ties in security and the economy to a new level. The hostage release following the Israel-Hamas truce deal has been delayed until Friday, as the two sides seem to be fine-tuning the details. It's November 23, 2023. This is News Center. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. We start with the heightened tensions on the Korean peninsula in the wake of North Korea's military spy satellite launch the previous day. Pyongyang announced this morning that it'll resume the military measures that have been restricted under the 2018 Inter-Korean Military Agreement, a day after South Korea partially suspended the agreement due to the satellite launch. Last night, the regime test-fired another ballistic missile, but it seems to have failed. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Bae Eun-ji explains.
North Korea has said it will immediately restore all military measures that were halted under the Inter-Korean Military Agreement signed on September 19, 2018, that aimed to reduce tensions along the shared border. The North's Defense Ministry announced this in a statement on Thursday morning, saying that it will no longer be restrained by the agreement. It also said that it will deploy stronger armed forces and new weapons near the border. The move comes a day after South Korea approved a partial suspension of the Inter-Korean Agreement as a response to the regime's recent spy satellite launch. One expert says, in terms of immediate significance, South Korea will now be able to fly helicopters and drones along its side of the border for surveillance purposes. But Seoul's decision could possibly make the country more vulnerable to attacks.
I mean, the tank barriers and the guideposts that were removed in 2018 are going to be a lot harder for South Korea to put back than for North Korea to put back. You know, you'd have demonstrations, peace protests, and so on down here. So this means that South Korea's capital city of Seoul, I think, remains more vulnerable to attack than Pyongyang does.
In fact, just a few hours after the South's partial suspension of the agreement, North Korea launched a ballistic missile Wednesday night toward waters off its east coast. But Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff said it believes the launch failed and that intelligence authorities from Seoul and Washington are conducting further analysis. In the meantime, activity has been detected at the regime's nuclear facility. The International Atomic Energy Agency said a strong water outflow from a reactor's cooling system was spotted sometime after mid-October at North Korea's Yongbyon nuclear facility. The agency noted this could mean a possible test run at this facility, which is suspected to be used to produce materials for nuclear weapons. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
Following Pyongyang's announcement, there was a stern warning coming from South Korea's defense chief vowing to respond strongly until the end if Pyongyang engages in provocative actions. Our defense correspondent Choi Min-jung reports.
South Korea's defense chief has warned that Seoul will take stern measures to counter any threats posed by North Korea. The warning came during a parliamentary session on Thursday, hours after the North said it would restore all military measures it had halted under the 2018 Inter-Korean Military Agreement.
If North Korea carries out provocations under the pretext of the suspension, we'll respond immediately, strongly, and to the end.
Shin stressed that North Korea's launch of the so-called military spy satellite once again shows that it has no will to abide by the military pact. The minister also defended South Korea's partial suspension of the agreement, saying that it is a corresponding measure to the regime's threats and the least it could do to protect the lives and safety of its people. Seoul's defense ministry also strongly criticized the North's attempt to shift the blame for the heightened tensions to South Korea.
We once again sternly warn North Korea against misleading comments and pointing the finger at others through its defense ministry's statement.
The ministry said the military will closely monitor North Korea's actions in the future and take countermeasures to protect South Korea's citizens. Concerns are also growing about potential conflicts that could unfold near the border, but the ministry noted that deterrence is achieved through force and emphasized that the military is fully prepared. Amid the escalating tensions on the Korean peninsula, South Korea is anticipated to hold a bilateral naval drill with the U.S. and a trilateral one with the U.S. and Japan this weekend. Choi Min-dang, Arirang News.
In the meantime, South Korea's National Intelligence Service says North Korea's reconnaissance satellite, launched yesterday, has reached orbit with help from Russia. Our political correspondent Lee Si-woo with more.
South Korea's National Intelligence Service perceives that North Korea has successfully launched what the regime claims is a reconnaissance satellite into orbit. This is according to lawmaker Yoo Sang-bum, the vice chairperson of the Parliament's Intelligence Committee, on Thursday after receiving a briefing from the NIS. Lawmaker Yoo, quoting the NIS, says that Russia may be involved.
The NIS said it perceives that Russia most likely helped with the launch, as Russian President Vladimir Putin revealed his will to support projectile launches during his talks with Kim Jong-un. It's also been confirmed that after the talks, North Korea provided Russia with data on the first and second projectiles and their designs, and Russia provided an analysis of that data.
North Korea launched a military reconnaissance satellite on Tuesday. The regime claimed the spy satellite had taken pictures of U.S. military bases in Guam. But the National Assembly's Intelligence Committee says this has yet to be confirmed based on South Korea's analysis of the obtained satellite from Pyongyang's failed launch in late May.
Considering how it normally takes 3 years to develop new satellites, unless North Korea releases footage of Guam, the circumstances do not show the satellite's capabilities.
The Intelligence Committee's other vice chairperson, lawmaker Yoon Gon-young, said the actual pictures needed to discern the satellite's capabilities.
The specific picture needs to be confirmed to tell whether it's a reconnaissance satellite or whether it lacks the capabilities to be a reconnaissance satellite.
As for a subsequent launch, lawmaker Yoon says it will be difficult.
It will be difficult to launch additional satellites within this year, but the NS did say that they are considering the possibility.
Lawmaker Yoon said that there are no signs of North Korea's 7th nuclear test, including in the village of Punggye-ri, housing the regime's nuclear test site. Lee Si-woo, Arirang News.
Over in the UK, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak declared the Downing Street Accord, having elevated the two nations' ties to a new level. What took center stage was key military cooperation to counter North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. Oh Soo-young reports from London.
South Korea and the United Kingdom will develop cutting-edge military technologies to neutralise North Korea's nuclear missile threat. President Yoon Suk-yeol and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Wednesday jointly declared the Downing Street Accord, upgrading their bilateral ties to a global strategic partnership. The set of documents lay out key areas of cooperation in security and defence, science and technology, trade and energy, as Britain tilts its strategic interest towards the Indo-Pacific, which accounts for more than 60% of global trade and GDP. The two countries have a shared interest in promoting peace and stability amid geopolitical clashes in the region. As technology blurs the line between national and economic security, spurring a rivalry for supremacy in advanced high-tech areas, Seoul and London will deepen their tech cooperation and work to develop artificial intelligence and quantum technology for military use.
If AI and digital technology are utilised in quantum military technology, quantum sensing and control could thwart enemy missile launch attempts, cause malfunctioning in the propulsion and separation stages, and neutralise the trajectory from hitting the planned target point.
A presidential official told reporters in London that South Korea looks to maximise its own capabilities to deter North Korea's security threat and curb its illegal weapons activities and exchanges with countries like Russia. In doing so, Seoul will accelerate its research and development and build up a network of like-minded countries. On broader security issues, South Korea and the UK agreed to establish a new 2+2 dialogue between foreign and defence ministers and develop closer defence industry cooperation. They will also conduct joint military exercises, share maritime security information, and hold joint maritime patrols to enforce UN Security Council sanctions against North Korea. The two countries forged a strategic cyber partnership, the first such document adopted at the leaders' level for both countries. Seoul says this could lead to closer cooperation with the Five Eyes intelligence sharing network.
With South Korea is considered to be a reliable partner, one of the top partners in Asia and the Indo-Pacific region. So you see the mutual interest, which I think is going to continue to drive this bilateral cooperation between Korea and specific European countries, but also within the context of the EU or NATO.
In the accord, Yoon and Sunak jointly condemned Pyongyang's unlawful nuclear missile programs and called for an end to its military cooperation with Moscow. They also opposed attempts to subvert international law and freedom of navigation in the East and South China Sea, condemned Russia's aggression towards Ukraine and Hamas's initial terrorist attacks on Israel as unjustifiable, and sought peaceful and humane solutions. As they join hands across all key strategic challenges, marking 140 years of diplomatic relations, South Korea and the UK vow to work together to defend freedom and democracy around the world. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, London.
The Downing Street Accord also aims to ramp up cooperation in the economy, technology, and clean energy between South Korea and the UK, having emerged as being crucial in this new era. Kim Do-yeon has more.
Pursuing prosperity, growth, and security in our economies. That's how the Downing Street Accord signed on Wednesday between South Korea and the UK refers to the economic and technological aspects of this new era of bilateral cooperation. There are 26 items included in the second chapter of the accord, with notable achievements being the ROK-UK Framework for Semiconductor Cooperation, the ROK-UK Supply Chains Dialogue, and the ROK-UK Digital Partnership, and a key focus on supply chain protection.
저는 양국이 그야말로 혈맹의 동지이기 때문에 경제 협력이라든지 또는 과학기술 협력에 있어서 우리가 못할 일이 없다라는 생각을 갖고 있습니다.
The ROK-UK Framework for Semiconductor Cooperation is specifically a commitment to the chips industry with, quote, both bilateral activities and cooperation in multilateral fora. The ROK-UK Supply Chains Dialogue, a ministerial-level meeting, will be established by the end of 2023 and will focus on strengthening the supply of parts and equipment for cutting-edge technologies and critical mineral resources, among others. The ROK-UK Digital Partnership will create a forum at the vice ministerial level to discuss telecom supply chain diversification, semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. In addition, the accord aims to modernize the free trade agreement to, quote, reflect the importance of emerging trade agendas such as supply chain resilience, digital economy, and energy cooperation. In the meantime, the diplomatic accord acknowledges the importance of the MOU on space cooperation, as the two will work together on satellites, tackling space debris and Earth observation technology. The third part of the accord focuses on, quote, delivering a sustainable, secure, and resilient future. Among the 11 items under this third and final part is the ROK-UK Clean Energy Partnership.
A key feature of the achievements in this field is the concentration of efforts to spread carbon-free energy centered around nuclear and offshore wind power.
The two countries are also set to hold regular high-level meetings to discuss progress in achieving net zero by 2050. In the meantime, President Yoon also showed his ambition to build from the Downing Street Accord as he attended a banquet hosted by the Lord Mayor of the City of London, Professor Michael Mainelli, on Wednesday night. The event at Guildhall is a customary event for guests on a state visit to the UK, and there, President Yoon took the opportunity to meet with economic representatives from London. Yoon added that despite it being his last night in London, tomorrow will be a brighter day for Seoul-London ties. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
A South Korean High Court overturned a lower court 2021 ruling today and ordered the Japanese government to compensate the victims of Japan's wartime sexual slavery. The Seoul High Court ordered Japan to pay 200 million Korean won, or about $150,000 to each of the 16 victims. It said Tokyo must pay reasonable compensation as the country's, quote, illegal acts are recognized when mobilizing the so-called comfort women on the Korean peninsula at the time, meaning during World War II. Back in 2021, the Seoul Central District Court dismissed a case citing sovereign immunity, a concept under customary international law that allows a state to be immune from civil suits in foreign courts. The hostage release following the recent Israel-Hamas truce deal has been pushed back until Friday. The two sides seem to be fine-tuning the details. Moon Hye-ryun has more.
The planned release of 50 hostages from the Israel-Hamas conflict in exchange for a 4-day pause in fighting and the release of prisoners has been pushed back a day. According to CNN, a senior U.S. official stated that the hostage deal has been delayed until Friday morning in order to iron out the details and to minimize things going wrong. Israel was said to have made this decision together with Qatar and Egypt as mediators. While the current working list of 10 hostages likely to be released from Gaza on the first day only contains information regarding their gender, nationality and age, U.S. officials have said that they expect the names to be released by Thursday night. Solely women and children, they'll be released in batches of around 10 per day. The first 2 days are to be a testing period to make sure that both sides are keeping to the agreement, and then further hostage negotiations are expected to take place. So far, what's known about the process is that the hostages will be guided by the Red Cross and taken to a designated border point, mostly through Egypt. Earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Red Cross would be able to visit the remaining hostages in the enclave to give them needed medication. In exchange, Israel has agreed to a temporary 4-day ceasefire in Gaza and free Palestinian prisoners in Israel with the exception of people it said are murderers. With this latest development, world leaders are calling on both parties to hold up their side of the deal and are hopeful that this could be the start of positive developments. The Prime Minister of Qatar shared on his social media his hopes for serious talks for a comprehensive and just peace process. Humanitarian aid from overseas is also expected to pour in during this crucial period. The President of the European Commission said that the EU will do its utmost to provide a humanitarian surge. Moon Hye-ryun, Arirang News.
South Korea's shipbuilding industry has recently grabbed headlines as it once again topped global shipbuilding orders last month. It hopes to keep its spot at the top by investing in green technology and digitalization of the sector. To explain, our economics correspondent Lee Soo-jin joins us in the studio. Welcome, Soo-jin.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us, what is Korea's shipbuilding industry? How is it doing? And what's behind the driving force behind its performance?
To put it in simple terms, first of all, it's doing actually very well. The South Korea shipbuilding industry has been turning to green technology and embarking on digital transformation, which has been paying off. According to shipping analysis firm Clarkson Research, South Korean shipbuilders won 1.54 million compensated gross tons, or 62% of global shipbuilding orders in October. They overtook their biggest competitors, Chinese companies, which secured 33% of global orders. This thanks to South Korea's domination of the eco-friendly ship market. Here's what an expert said.
The global shipping industry is currently in the process of transitioning from ships fueled by diesel to LNG, and countries are ordering Korean vessels because of their advanced technology, despite them being more than 10% more expensive than those from China.
The International Maritime Organization, a UN agency that regulates global shipping, revised its greenhouse gas strategy in July to be more in line with the Paris Agreement by aiming for at least a 40% reduction in the carbon intensity of international shipping compared to 2008 levels by 2030. As the shipping industry moves towards alternative fuels to meet IMO standards, South Korea's big three shipbuilders, Hana Ocean, HD Korea Shipbuilding and Offshore Engineering, and Samsung Heavy Industries, all recorded a surplus in the third quarter for the first time in 11 years. This upward trend is expected to continue as just last week, Hana Ocean inked a deal worth almost $500 million from a Greek shipping company to construct 4 very large ammonia carriers, slated to be the world's largest of their kind. But it's not just big shipyards that are making headway in developing green technologies. This ship, operated by a domestic port authority, is Asia's first LNG-fueled ship. It's part of the port's efforts to reduce its own greenhouse gas emissions. This ship was also certified by the Ministry of Environment for its usage of an alternative maritime power system, where ships in port can connect to the mainland electricity grid for power, rather than using their own, often produced by diesel generators.
And how is the local shipbuilding industry becoming digitalized?
So, shipbuilders like Hana Ocean now have smart yards. These are smart shipyards where drones and IoT technologies monitor activities, while robots and virtual reality are used in the shipbuilding process to increase efficiency, alleviate labor shortages, and shorter development cycles. The company is planning to keep advancing its smart yard as well.
We are working towards incorporating the latest ICT technologies to connect the entire shipyard and establish a smart and secure development system that can be operated autonomously.
It's also established a high-tech lab dedicated to researching ways to prevent sloshing or liquid movement that can damage tanks that contain liquid fuels such as LNG.
And what is the outlook in terms of the global shipbuilding orders?
Well, the expert I talked to said the answer actually lies in investing in research and development for the digital transformation of ships. The big three are already doing a considerable amount of their own technological development. This means by 2030, it's highly likely that we will at least be able to reach the third stage of digitalization.
The big three are already doing a considerable amount of their own technological development. This means that by 2030, it's highly likely that we will at least be able to reach the third stage of digitalization.
The third stage of digitalization that you just talked about refers to building a ship that has a monitoring system that will detect any issues and an AI platform that will give directions to the crew on how to fix those problems, while the fourth and final stage being completely unmanned ships. He added that to further accelerate this process, shipping equipment and machinery companies that work with these shipyards also need to undergo digital transformations to avoid bottlenecks in the production process.
All right, thanks for the report, Sujin.
Thank you, it was my pleasure.
Temperatures will take a steep dive starting tomorrow. Morning lows will be dropping by about 14 degrees here in Seoul, down to -4 degrees Celsius. Places like Daegwallyeong and Gangwon-do province will see bitterly cold conditions of -7 degrees. Due to frigid wind chills, temperatures will feel much colder than the actual readings. Make sure to bundle up extra warm. And snows in the forecast for western parts of the country tomorrow. Parts of Chungcheongdo and Jeollado provinces will see 1 to 3 centimeters of snowfall. Gangwon-do province will see around 1 centimeter. Overall snowfall amounts are fairly trivial, but sub-zero temperatures can lead to icy conditions on the roads. Please be extra careful when driving. Under frigid spells, we'll have no worries about fine dust tomorrow. Morning temperatures in Chuncheon will be especially cold at -5 degrees. Most of the snowfall will have tapered off by the daytime. As for the daily highs, Seoul will get up to 2 degrees, Daejeon 4, Daegu and Gyeongju will be topping out at 6 degrees. On Saturday, morning temperatures will be plunging to -6 degrees, which is the coldest season of the so far. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is News Center for tonight. Thank you for watching. A panel session coming up